Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you. Another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, see, folks, I'm Platter video series videos I would do for the one. I would go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff. And, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks. I'm trying to get through my intro quick so that it doesn't melt too much. But it's a super simple format. I'm going to eat and or drink some stuff. I'm going to yammer around about it. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm inside my truck. Whilst I'm inside my truck, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I like to highlight the super cool shirt. Super cool shirt am I wearing today? Boom! It's my Godhead shirt. If you are not familiar with the band Godhead, that's okay. It's okay. We all make mistakes in our lives. But you can remedy that, okay? They have music available. They're an excellent band, kind of industrial rock, gothic kind of stuff. They were active from like the 90s into like the sort of mid-2000s. I absolutely love them. They're fantastic. Sadly, they're not really active anymore, but their lead singer, Jason Charles Miller, is still active. I actually went to go see him perform not too long ago at the time I'm doing this, and I have a few videos uploaded on this very channel, just in case you're interested. But anyway, what is it that I'm trying for y'all today, folks? Well, like I said, I wanted to get to it before it melted because, folks, boom! It's an A&W root beer float. I wanted to do this review with the mug, like with the proper A&W mug, but unfortunately they were sold out at the time. So I had to go for, just the standard one, which is what it is, but it's not as special, and I was almost willing to just wait it out and because I guess they had more, but they needed to wash them and stuff and everything. Not for sale, mind you, but you could use it as in the restaurant itself. And I thought about doing that, but there was this shitty old guy that was over there who decided that he wanted to talk to me, which initially was fine. It was okay. We were talking about A&W and how there used to be a bunch of them around. They decided to go over there and make an offhanded racist remark. And it was like, well, that's the end of this. I'm getting the fuck out of here. So, fuck that old guy. Let's try a hopefully delicious root beer float. That's a good root beer float, folks. Oh. I mean, it was going to be. A&W, clearly, it's one of, root beer is one of their signature things. You put it in a float, it's going to work. Now, I will say this. I do not personally find it to be the penultimate root beer for a root beer float. And here's why. I like A&W. It's fine. It's a decent root beer for what it is. But, and I mentioned this in root beer related reviews, there's kind of two camps when it comes to commercial root beer. You have the mug and the A&W on one side, and then you have Bargs and Dads on the other. That's kind of how I see it. The A&W and the mug, they're sweeter, they work well for a wider appeal audience. And, that's what A&W does. And it's like I said, I like A&W root beer, but I'm more in the camp with the Bargs and the Dads. I like stuff that's got a little bit more bite. It's got a little bit more going on with it. Now, the thing with A&W is it already has kind of a vanilla kind of flavor to it, a little extra creaminess. That's what makes it stand out as A&W. Thing is, you add that in with ice cream, with vanilla ice cream, you don't get much of a contrast. You kind of just get sweet on sweet with the vanilla. The root beer aspect of it, for me, doesn't shine through as much as it should. Whereas for myself, a harsher root beer, something that's got a stronger oomph to it, more bite, I personally think makes for a better root beer float because it creates a better contrast. You've got the sweetness from the from the vanilla ice cream and everything. You want something to counteract that. That for me is what makes a really good root beer float. Now this is still good because at the end of the day, it's still A&W, it's still vanilla ice cream, it's still going to do what it needs to do. It would definitely be better from the mug, the nice frosted mug and everything. But, hey, I understand it is what it is. They had available what's available. I will probably, at some point, come back and go over there and try to get one of the mugs. Because I feel like, I gotta have one. But, in terms of being a root beer float, it's perfectly solid. I wouldn't say it's anything tremendously special as a root beer float. And like I said, if I were going to compare this against another root beer float from a sort of fast food type establishment, the best one I could go off of would be Arby's, because periodically they'll have root beer floats available. I prefer those because they use Barq's, and I think Barq's works better as a contrast. This is a good root beer float. I think it's a good root beer float regardless, but I think it's a better root beer float if what you're going for specifically is you want that sweetness. In that regard, I think it works really well, but as the type of person I am, I love contrasting flavors, because I feel like it elevates the flavors when you have something for it to work against. With this, it's good, but I'm not getting as much root beer flavor as I would like, and because I don't have that, it doesn't contrast against the sweetness. So, all that said, 2 questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Would I get it again? Yes, I would. Because at the end of the day, a root beer float's a root beer float. Root beer float's one of those things where it's it can only be so bad. And this isn't a bad root beer float. It's still really tasty and good. It's just not, it's not the penultimate root beer float for my tastes. Because, for all the reasons I've explained. But that said, if I'm going to go back to A&W, which at some point I'm sure I will, I'm happy they opened this place up finally. It took a couple of years for it to be a thing. I'm definitely going to get one every time I'm there, because it's iconic to the location, and it is ultimately, it's a good tasting thing. And if I can get one of the mugs, that'd be even fucking better. But as for recommending it, lots of people like A&W, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not my favorite root beer, but I do like it for what it is. So in that regard, I think if you're going to A&W, absolutely get yourself a root beer float. It may or may not be your favorite root beer float, depending on what your personal tastes are. If you're kind of more in line with myself, where you do prefer the ones that have a little bit more harshness, a little bit more complexity, it's probably not going to be your favorite, but at the end of the day, it's still a good root beer float, and you can get it at a spot where you can get a burger and hot dogs and shit like that, so I'm down with it. But anyway, 5 things before I get out of here, folks. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of the week, monumental rest of the month, stupendous rest of your year, and folks, you can go over there and have yourselves a truly root beer float-tastic rest of your life, because, folks, root beer floats are delicious. They're just, like I said, the worst root beer float is still a really good drink. That's just, as long as you have at least okay root beer and okay ice cream, it's wonderful. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity in your world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do can't do all the time. I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, it's not always the easiest thing to do in the world. Because, like I said, sometimes you're just going to a fast food establishment and you get racist old guy who's like, I'm going to say some racist shit. The fuck am I supposed to do with that situation, man? I'm just here for a fucking burger and a goddamn fucking shake. Oh, man, well, root beer float. It's what the fuck, dude? And it's and part of me wanted to just be like, dude, fuck you, blah, 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 but then it's why do people do that shit? I don't fucking understand that stuff, man. I get it. I'm a frumpy white guy, so it's maybe if you're a shitty old white guy and you're this guy, I'm sure would be cool with me saying some racist shit. No, dude. No. Wasn't chill with that when I was working in the gas station job. Not chill with it out in the world. Keep that fucking shit. First of all, fucking go over there and rearrange your head. It's 2023. Get it through your fucking head. Just get it through your head. That shit's done. Get it through your fucking head. On top of that, okay? On top of that shit, if it has to be in your head, keep it in your stupid fucking head. I don't want to fucking have to deal with that shit, man. That's not some shit that I want to fucking be faced with out, when I'm just trying to get some fucking fast food. Don't fucking do that shit, dude. Anyway. Take a step back, try to mitigate the level of asshole-ness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to park better than the person who went over there and parked right next to me. Because they are, like, only vaguely in the spot. Like, a quarter of their shitty car is in the spot in front of them. God, fucking. Today is a trying day. You know what? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to not be a racist piece of shit, and I want you to know how to park. All right, they adjusted. I'll give them that. They're still hanging over the line, though. Anyway, and I do want to mention real quickly, this is in no way, shape, or form anything against the A&W or anything like that. Like, this guy wasn't in earshot of anybody besides me, so it's not like, So, anyway, bye.